Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So following on from my last video's theme of what stage university students are kind of at now, it's June, July time. I want to talk about interview preparation and share with you my 5 top tips on how to smash your interview. I've had a fair few of interviews over the years on Zoom and in person, so I just wanted to go through my experience and hopefully help you prepare if you've got one coming up. Before I start the video, please subscribe if you're new and give the video a thumbs up if you've got an interview coming up. Let me know in the comment section below and ask me any questions that you have. So jumping right into it, I think number one, a lot of thought is done about the appearance of yourself. It's hard because you know it's a formal occasion, but I didn't ever know how formal to dress. But I've realised it's best to just dress smart for an interview, even if it does feel like a more relaxed company. I think dressing smart really shows that you've got your high standards and that you really care about the role and you want to impress the people that are interviewing you. Even on Zoom, I think dress smart, it's really easy to just be like, right, pajamas or just a hoodie on Zoom, but even putting a blazer on for an online interview, I think it just shows that you care a lot. So I definitely recommend dressing smart as tip number one. Number two is preparation. I feel like I've done both sides for an interview before. Like, I've been extremely prepared and then I've not been very prepared and I've thought I could wing it. And trust me, from that experience, the interviews that I've actually prepared for have gone so much better than the ones I haven't. So I want to talk about how to prepare because there's so many ways, but I think as long as you stick to these main areas, you'll be alright. So the first one is kind of obvious, but if you Google common questions for your job role, there's a website called Glassdoor, and I've actually had this happen in the past for a company I applied for, where the exact questions that were on the Glassdoor website came up in my interview, so I was extremely prepared for what they were going to ask me. Glassdoor is basically a website where people give information on their company that they work for, whether it's like salary or benefits of the working for the company or interview tips and interview stages that that company offer, because lots of different companies work differently. For the job that I've got now, which I've had since coming straight out of university, I had a Zoom interview and then I had a meeting in person as another interview. But in the past I've had interviews where you've had to do like maths and non-verbal reasoning assessments and then a CV assessment and then interview questions in person. So Glassdoor is a great way to first of all get to grips on how that company you're applying for work. Another thing in this preparation category is kind of writing a little script. You don't want to come off like a robot though and just like say word for word your script, because it might sound like you are a robot. But getting that list of common questions, and usually in most jobs they'll ask you why you want to apply for the role and what experience or skills you've got to that role. So that's at least 2 you could prepare a mini script for. And I think a script is just really useful because it stops you from rambling. I even wrote one for this video, so hopefully I'm not rambling too much. Another thing to remember is the company absolutely love it when you show interest in that company. Just a quick sentence like, oh, I saw you were established in 2000, how did the business first start up? Or like, oh, recently I saw you did this for charity, like I'm really interested in that charity myself. Like, just starting a conversation like that I think shows you've looked into the company and you're just keen to like get involved. Like, people love talking about themselves, so if you can ask them questions about the company, I think that will really help, and it will also create like a little bit of a bond between you and them. Another thing companies are big on is their ethos, and this can sometimes be found on their website, maybe in like the about section, where they have common goals or aims or like an ethos that they work to strive to be, So I think if you can relate to their ethos and use maybe even the keywords that they have in your own like about me section of the interview, then that's going to click for them. They're going to be like, oh, she shares a similar ethos to us, and hopefully that'll make them like you a bit more. But that leads me into number 3. Preparing for an interview is one thing, but I think really understanding the job role will help as well. So often you'll have like a job description before you go to the interview, which normally contains bullet points of your roles but also skills that they want you to have. Again here, I think this is useful for your CV, but also when you're actually in the interview. Literally just copy their keywords and get them into your sentences, get them into your CV when you're applying, because again it shows that you're really specifically interested in that role and their company and what they're after. My 4th top tip is all about non-verbal communication. This is super important in person, but I think also on online interviews it's actually quite hard to do, and it can feel slightly awkward at times because you're essentially just looking at a camera. But when the interviewer is talking, like, just really engage with them, look at their eyes. Give them good eye contact is how I should have said that. Like, try to have an open body language and like be as confident as possible. Like, even if you're so nervous inside, I think if you can pretend that you're confident. And we all know about like body language and crossed arms and stuff, like not sitting too closed off, and lots of nods and eye contact on Zoom is great for non-verbal communication, again showing that you're engaged. And then number 5, I feel like I've absolutely whizzed into this, but I just wanted to get straight to the point, is to practice as much as you can, whether that's with friends and family, getting them to ask you the questions, like walk in like it's a proper interview. But if you can't do that, like honestly just speaking out loud the answers to the questions you think you're going to get asked really helps. And I think the more times you practice, the less rambly you'll be, the more straight to the point you'll be, and hopefully the words will just eventually like flow off the tongue when you're in the actual interview. But that's it. This was a super speedy video on my top 5 tips to smash your grad job interview, or just any job interview if you're not even a graduate. Thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and like the video if it was helpful, and I'll see you next week with another. Thanks for watching. Bye.